Hello, everybody. How are you? We still in chapter 10, Myotatic Reflex, and we are now exactly in document 3 with the reflex control. Before we start, we have to know or explain a little bit what does a control mean.
Squeeze your hand again.
In this video,
All right.
we will
Do it
show
again.
you how
All right, perfect. So now I'm
this
going to
girl
hook
is
you up
trying
over here
to
so that you get to see. It's going
control
to feel a little bit weird at
her
first. It's going to
hands
feel like
movements.
you know, when you lose your free will and someone else becomes your agent, it does feel a bit strange. So I want you to relax your hand. All right, and Sam, you're with me. All right, so you're gonna squeeze. I'm not gonna turn it on yet, so go ahead and give it a squeeze. All right. So now, are you ready, Miguel?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, so I've turned it on. So go ahead and turn your hand.
We will see
Do you feel
now.
that a little bit?
Nope.
Okay, do it again.
Nope. A little bit.
A little bit. Okay, so relax. No, hit it again.
Oh.
Okay.
He is controlling
Perfect. All right, so
his
relax.
hand.
Do it again.
The movements
All
of
right,
his
so now.
This is what I
All right,
mean
so
by
right now,
control.
your
When we
brain
control
is controlling
something,
your
we are
arm, and it's
able
also
to
controlling his arm. So go ahead and just do it one more
move
time.
it
All right, so that's
by
perfect.
our will. So, continuing now with some other important concepts to start. The neuronic network of the myotatic reflex is given as you see here. We explained it before in documents 2 when we talked about the elements of the myotatic reflex. The cell body of the sensory neuron is in the spinal ganglion, and the motor neuron has its cell body in the gray matter of the spinal cord. This is the neuronic circuit. And we asked the question about something important. This is the network. The sensory message is entering by the dorsal root, and the motor message is going out by the dorsal root by the ventral root, sorry, in order to cause the contraction of the muscle, which is in this case extensor. And this is what caused the myotatic reflex happen. Then the muscles act in pairs of antagonistic muscles. One of them is contracting, the other is relaxing. And we will clarify this idea today in the incoming slides. We need to record the activities of these antagonist muscles in order to quantify this contraction. We have to give it numbers, and these numbers of how much is contracting, how much is each one is contracting in each of the two movements, they will give us the opportunity to make analysis and interpretation of the events in order to precisely explain and understand the action of each of the muscles in the myotatic reflex and in its control by the spinal cord or by other centers. Now, so our problem today is about how can we record the activities of the antagonist muscles, and we will take a look a little bit about the process and about the technique of recording and how can we get the results that can give us the enough information about the activities of the antagonist muscles. This is the first video that I will show to you, and here I can show you a little small activity in each of the muscles observed in this curve. We will give you some more relevant results. If we connect the oscilloscope or suitable device to the muscles, we will see the activity of each muscle, one of them during extension, this one, and the other during flexion, this one. But this is not enough. I have to give you some real results, some real, as you see here, a contraction is observed in this muscle each time that the girl makes flexion, as you see here. And in the opposite way, when she makes extension, we will observe an electric activity in the other muscle, which appears on the screen in the green color. Again, some more results. In this case, you will observe on the screen of the computer, you can see how the muscles of the arm of this man can appear contracting. Let's see. Sorry. This is the contraction that we observe. And in this case, we observe a contraction first of the extensor muscle responsible for the extension. This is it. And we observe here a contraction of the flexor muscle responsible for flexion. This is it. Again, with another result. This is the muscle, extensor muscle that contracts here. And here is the flexor muscle that contracts here. And this is the extensor that contracts during extension. Okay, again, you have to see it many times in order to understand precisely what is happening. And I have to show you this big chart about alternative extension and flexion movements. And during extension, how are the two muscles making activities? This is the first muscle that is making a high electric activity, and this is the second. And I will show you here during flexion, the opposite is happening. Okay, and you have to see at each time the extension, what muscle is going into action and what one of them is relaxing, is a little bit at rest. This is the flexion, and this is the extension. Repeating things make them more clear. And here you can see that the activity in this case, in this muscle, refers to the flexor muscle that contracts, okay? And the activity of this muscle is lower. It refers to the extensor muscle that relaxes. The opposite is happening during extension. The flexor muscle is relaxing and the extensor muscle is contracting. You can also observe the form, the shape of the muscle that appears here contracting, but here it is relaxing. The opposite is happening in this muscle, which relaxes in this case and contracts in this case. Okay, let's pass to our conclusion. When one of the two antagonist muscles contracts, the other relaxes, and vice versa. And we observed these information this time in quantifying results, quantified results. We observed some electric activities that we will, in the exercises that will come after, we will observe that we can give the contraction and the electric activity of the muscle. We can give them numbers concerning their amplitude, and the amplitude is about their electric signal. We will see them in the exercises. But here I have to make some exercises about how can we notice, how can we know if two muscles are antagonistic or not antagonistic, referring to their electric activities and not to their location in the body or to their appearance. Here you can see the muscle 1 and the muscle 2, and I hope you are able to notice that the electric activities of the two muscles appear at the same time always, and this is not corresponding to the case of the antagonist muscles. No? So the two muscles are not antagonist, they are called agonist muscles because they work together, not in opposite way. Okay? In this case, you can observe how the contraction of this muscles, of the muscle 2, is done during the relaxation of the muscle 1, and the opposite is made by muscle 1 when it makes contraction. The muscle 2 is at rest, and we have repetition of these results that make us know and certify that the two muscles in this case are antagonists. Here I have to show you some other cases. Here I have a contraction and then a relaxation, then contraction, then relaxation. But always during the alternating contraction and relaxation of muscle 1, muscle 2 is always making a moderate contraction that is permanent. And in that case, I can't say that the two muscles are antagonists, neither agonist. Okay? They are totally different muscles. They appear to make activities independently, the one from the other. Not oppositely and not synchronous activities. Synchronous means at the same time. Here, I can't say in this case either if it is if the two muscles are agonist or antagonist, because sometimes they appear to make contraction at the same time as here, but in some other cases they appear to make a contraction not precisely at the same time as in this case. And sometimes the one in this case, muscle 2 is contracting, but the muscle 1 is appearing or appear in a state of relaxation, a little relaxation. So in that case also I can't certify, I can't be sure about the relation between the two muscles. I can't say they are antagonists, I can't say they are agonists. So in order to go further in the next presentations that I will show you in the next few days, here I will show you again the network. This is the network that we studied, and I have to focus on something new. The antagonist muscle for the extensor muscle that is shown in this case, this antagonist muscle is making relaxation during the contraction of the extensor. And this other muscle, which is the flexor in this case, has its own motor fiber. And the motor fiber in that case, it doesn't have the same messages as the motor fiber of the extensor muscle. We are focusing now on this part of the network. And we have to ask ourselves, how is the sensory fiber of the extensor muscle connected to the motor neuron of the same extensor muscle in order to ensure its contraction, and how it is connected to the motor neuron of the antagonist muscle in order to ensure its relaxation. The connection between the sensory fiber originating from the extensor muscle is not the same with the two motor neurons of the extensor and of the motor of the extensor and of the flexor muscle. And this is what we're asking for in the next presentations, in the next videos, how the sensory fiber originating from a muscle is connected to the motor neurons corresponding for the same muscle and to the motor neuron or neurons corresponding for the antagonist muscle. Because each muscle doesn't have only one motor neuron, it can have more than one. So how is the connection made between the sensory fiber and the motor neurons of the extensor of the same and of the antagonist muscle? This is what we have to study in the next videos. I will let for you this link in order to make self-assessment of what we have understood in this video, in order to for each one to know at what level he or she got the concepts in that presentation. And if you have some other difficulties, you have to repeat the video again, or you can ask me if you want. Thank you very much for observing this video, and we will try to get the things better in the next videos. Thank you very much.